Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh. With Richard Murdoch, Kenneth, Horne, Sam Costa, Marilyn Williams, Morris Denham, Dick Griffin, and the Augmented Dance Orchestra conducted by Stanley Black. Well, as I said to Charlie Barnes on the night of the table tennis semi-finals, come what may, I said, choose how, and iddle for diddle, much binding takes the air.
Comes a time in everybody's life when one must face up to facts which sometimes are not too pleasant to face. Such a time has come for all of us now, and we must be very brave, for the man stepping up to the microphone is none other than your old friend, Richard Murdoch.
How do you do, visitors? Welcome once again to Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh. During the recent fine weather, we've been getting busy gardening and tidying up the grounds. We've been over the tennis court with a scythe, and it's a great improvement. Not only is it now possible to see from one end of the court to the other, but we've also found the net, which had been lying there since last summer. And what makes the whole thing better still is that we even found the ball, so that tennis can now begin. The molehills may make the play difficult, but they'll certainly make it interesting. The garden is looking at its best just now, and nobody would think that for a short time it was used as a rubbish tip. As the vicar said, it looks as if it had always been a rubbish tip. And we're hoping for great things from our vegetable garden, too. Having, as it does, a deep subsoil of old cans and razor blades, the vegetables come up already sliced and canned, which is a great help. We sent in a few entries to the local flower show, and we did very well. In fact, we got a highly commended for the largest and healthiest green flies. Most of the week has been spent in renovating the club. The bedrooms have all been done out in peach paper with a puce dado, all except Costa's, which has been done out with strong disinfectant. Another improvement is that we've had electric lighting in all the rooms. That is, all the rooms with ceilings. In the near future, we hope to install bedside lamps, but until then, it is hoped that visitors reading in bed will manage with the miners' helmets and Davy lamps we now supply for this purpose. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough light bulbs left for the dining room, and we've been forced to extemporize with bulbs from the X-ray machine. Now we not only see what we've got for dinner, but what we've had for lunch. I'm afraid you won't see Miss Goodbody, our member, this week, as she's on holiday. I had a letter from her at Fishwork on Sea with some pressed bogwort. She says, having a wonderful time, it has rained every day, I've sprained my ankle, caught a touch of flu, and spent all my money. Hoping this finds you as it leaves me. Now, isn't that nice of her? All of which reminds me that Stanley Black and the orchestra are going to play now a bit of a tune, and it's called Aunt Hetty Likes. Morning, sir. It is nice to see you again. These weekly visits of yours are like a breath of fresh air. Do you mind if I open the window?
Oh, certainly, Murdoch. And talking of fresh air, I decided to walk from Spranfield Abbot. It was such a lovely day.
Well, that's a terrific long walk.
Yes, so I discovered. Incidentally, I was interested to observe the methods adopted by pedestrians to obtain lifts from passing vehicles.
They'll go to almost any lengths, won't they, sir?
They will.
Personally, I find the thumb method a bit hackneyed. I always lie flat in the middle of the road and pretend I've got a broken ankle.
You must get run over rather a lot.
Oh, I do, sir, but I get a lot of lifts.
I must break my ankle one day and try it. I wonder if you've ever noticed the cunning way that the opposite sex have in these matters.
You don't mean the suspender adjusting method?
Well, I suppose that's the same thing. I call it the eye-opener. There was a girl just in front of me on the road today who adopted that very method.
Was she successful?
The next car gave her a lift.
Oh, you should have tried it yourself, sir.
I did. I bent down to fix my suspender, and I had to stay in that position for some time.
Didn't you get a lift?
Yes, I did, and you must ask Mr. Blake to keep his goat on a chain. Anyhow, I'm here now, and if you'll get me a cushion, we'll get down to business.
Business is pretty slack at the moment.
But surely, Murdoch, there's always something you can find to do to entertain the member.
She's not here.
What do you mean?
Well, sir, Miss Goodday has gone on her holibodies.
I beg your pardon?
I mean, Miss Dolly Hay's gone on her body goods.
What you're trying to say is Miss Hollygood has gone on her day bodies.
Exactly, sir. That's it. Miss Goodbody was checked out yesterday.
What on earth for?
No, sir, not chucked out, checked out.
Oh, I see.
Costa put her on the train with her baggage and the unconsumed portion of her day's rations.
I see. She's taking her vacation.
No, sir, she's going by herself.
Well, Murdoch, this is a heaven-sent opportunity to intensify our campaign for attracting new members.
But, sir, I've had that notice in the Spagthorpe Sentinel for months. And the only result we've had so far is from a gentleman who offered to take photographs if ever we had a wedding reception.
Yes, but, Murdoch, we've got to find some way of making money. We carry on like this with only one member and her on holiday. You know what it'll mean.
What will it mean, sir?
Insolvency.
And what does insolvency mean?
Insolvency? Well, it means, I'm not quite sure. Just hand me the dictionary, will you?
There you are, sir. The concise Cambridge entomological amended up to 1868.
Oh, splendid. Now, let me see. Decomposable, glyptography, hustings, ichthyoesophagus. Here we are. Incoherent income. Oh, it doesn't seem to give it. INCOLVENT. No, it's not in here.
Oh, sir, your spelling. It's double L.
Oh, of course. It is possible that, as this is an old dictionary, it's spelled with an S. Oh, yes, here it is. It says haughty and contemptuous.
What?
Haughty and contemptuous.
Oh, sir, that's insolent. It's just off the Isle of Wight, you know. Here it is, sir, insolvent.
And what does it mean?
Not solvent.
Oh, in that case, things are not as bad as I thought.
Yes, sir. And I found a really easy way of getting rich quick.
You haven't, Murdoch.
I have, sir. I think. Yes, I have. All you have to do is to write a song and you get £1,000. It's a sort of competition.
Oh, what's it called?
Well, it's that thing they do it's called Write a Song for £1,000.
Oh, that's a clever twist, isn't it?
But I don't think it's a twist, sir. It's all above board.
I see. Well, let's get cracking. I'm often writing little songs. I dashed a few off on the train coming down here this morning.
Did you really, sir?
Yes, I don't say they were actually worth £1,000. About 800, I should imagine. The first one I called Shut the Door, Fred.
What a funny thing, sir, because I've just written a little thing called Close the Window, Harry.
Oh, really? Well, how does it go?
It starts, for heaven's sake, keep the French windows ajar, Millicent. Ta-ta-ta-ta.
What's the ta-ta-ta-ta?
Ta-ta-ta-ta. Well, I couldn't think of any other words for that bit, so I just put in ta-ta-ta-ta.
Well, I must say, it's most effective. It gives a sort of knocking effect.
Yes, but I don't suppose it'll matter, though, do you, sir? I tell you what, why don't we write a song and get £1,000?
The money's as good as ours.
I hope it'll be a great deal better. Now there's What rhymes with ecstasy?
Ecstasy. Well, apart from indigestion and forced meatballs, there isn't very much. But look, Murdoch, you're putting the cart before the horse. What we need first is a catchy tune, a catchy phrase as a title, and a good tempo.
And a good tempo was had by Omnibus. Well, I tell you what, sir, these competitions are usually won by a waltz.
Poor Britisher never gets a chance these days.
No, sir. What I mean is the old 1, 2, 3.
Oh, yes. Will you ever forget Valencia? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
That's it, sir. Well, now, that's fixed the tempo, but I think a little bit slower, something like Oh, no, that's
Oh, that's lovely. That really is.
Yeah,
I see what you mean, yes. Rather like... ta-ta, 2, 3, ta-ta, 4, 5.
But not too much like that. That's the sort of rhythm. I suggest that the actual tune should start something like... I don't
think I've ever heard anything quite so catchy. But look, what are we going to use for words?
I've no idea, sir. Now, let me see. If only we could get an inspiration. Come in.
Good morning, sir. Was there something?
Sir, that's it. Of course, Murdoch, we've got it.
I hope it's nothing catching, sir.
Oh, but Costa, it is. Everyone in the country will catch it. It's the most infectious thing for years.
Well, couldn't we be injeculated against it?
What are you talking about, Costa? It's a magnum opus.
Oh, I shall never forget Emily having that. Her twin just took a back seat then.
Costa. What Mr. Horne means is that we're writing a song.
Oh, what's it going to be called?
Was there something?
Yes, sir. I said, what's it going to be called?
It's going to be called Was There Something? Now, sir, to catch on, the title must be repeated a great many times. I suggest something like, was the something, ya-ra-ta-ta, was the something.
I see. Well, that's very, very promising so far. Now, all we need to complete
I
that
like
phrase is a bit for the ya-ta-ta-ta-ta part.
Well, may I suggest change here for croinge?
It's a little bit too onomatopoeic for my taste.
I quite agree, don't you, Costa?
Well, perhaps it has got a slight smattering of the soporific.
Well, how about Landrindod Wells?
The very thing, sir. I was thinking on those lines myself. I'll just jot that down. Was there something twice? Landrid, Nod, Wells, was there something? Well, that's a couple of hundred in the bag already. Now, Costa, what next? Bearing in mind that at some point we must rhyme the word me with melody.
Well, that doesn't rhyme, sir. You might as well talk about a nice hot cup of Teledee.
Oh, Costa, you'll never be a Thackeray.
Thackeray very much, sir. How about come closer, my darling, and whisper to me, your face makes me think of an old melody.
But, Costa, why should a face make you think of an old melody?
But it doesn't matter, sir. That'll be quite good enough. I mean, if it had been £2,000, we could have polished it up a bit.
What, the face?
No, sir, just let's carry on with it, shall we? Now, the next two lines must go something like this. It isn't. It's it's a dumb thing. It's got to finish up like that.
Well, my cousin Florrie, whose dad drives a lorry, if anyone is, she's a dumb thing.
Well, let's put that down. It fits very well. That's the thing I was trying to think of. Now, it just wants to finish, was the something, see?
Well, unquestionably the most euphonious sentence there would be, cabinet ministers seldom eat tripe.
Are you quite certain of your facts there, sir?
Well, make it glass manufacturers.
I don't think we'd better, no.
Perhaps you're right. We'd better play for safety.
We'll make it, Japanese architects.
Well, just as you like. Now, we must sing this through before Marilyn Williams gets here.
I quite agree.
I say, boys.
You're just about a minute too soon, Marilyn. You can sing your song when we finish ours.
Okay, I'll hang on, but don't be too long, because Stanley Black's waiting to accompany me.
Good. Then he can accompany us, too. Ready, boys?
Was there something? Was there something? Landrindod Wells was there something? Come closer, my darling, and whisper to me. Your face makes me think of an old melody. My cousin Florrie, whose dad drives a lorry. If anyone is, she's a dumb thing. Japanese architects seldom eat tripe. Was there something? Was there something? Was there
Something you were really meaning, how I hear that hanging was my nose bleeding. Would you kindly drop a couple of coppers down my back and take it easy, baby, with please?
Please come closer to me, my darling, if you whisper soft to me. For your face reminds me of a broken old cap and quite an awful melody.
Have you ever seen my cousin Florrie lately? Well, I've advertised around to Laurie. He's a bit of bread and butter pudding. It's a thing I've always wanted for my tea.
There is no doubt that this song's awful tripe. Was there something? Was there something?
You can have the band now, Marilyn. We didn't use them much. What are you going to sing?
I'm going to sing a little song called Mademoiselle, Dickie. It was Montmartre it was midnight. Come to think of it, it was spring. There was music, I was listening. Then in the room somewhere, someone began to sing this serenade made for remembering. A small cafe, Mademoiselle, your rendezvous, Mademoiselle. The violins were warm and sweet, so were you, Mademoiselle. And as the night danced by, a kiss became a sigh. Your lovely eyes seemed to sparkle like his does. No heart ever yearned the way that his does for you. And yet I know too well, someday you'll say goodbye. Then violins will cry, he will sigh, Mademoiselle. Your lovely eyes seem to sparkle just like his does. No heart ever yearned the way that his does for you. And yet I know too well, someday you'll say goodbye. Then violins will cry, he will sigh,
Life is just a bowl of parsnips. It's in the... come in.
Oh, afternoon. Be you the manager here?
Well, I'm not exactly the manager, but I'm responsible indirectly for most things.
Oh, we've from Fishlock and Blades of Sprague's Hop. My mate Nobby and I have come to put in your plug-it in. Where should we put in?
Well, I think it would give the best results in the window box.
Oh, that's good, wasn't it, eh? Here, Nobby, come here. Do you hear what this gent says? He says, plug it in will give the best results in the window box. What do you think of that, Nobby?
Well, talk about law.
Yes, they always tell me I'm a bit of a card. Mind you, I had thought of having it dotted around the rock garden.
Oh, that's better, wasn't it? Dotted around the rock garden. Hear that, Nobby? You hear that? Eh?
Well, talk about splitting my side.
Now, joking apart now, which wall are you going to have him on?
Have what on?
They're plug it in. You know, you've seen the advertisements. Plug it in into your homes and solve your wildest worries. That's right, isn't it, Nobby?
Talk about a long felt one.
Oh, you mean like switch it on?
No. Plug it in is in a different class. Do you know that plug it in has more volume output per amp hour per frequency intake than any similar installation on the market? That's right, isn't it, Nobby?
Talk about Super 8 pickups.
All right, I will. I picked up a really superette the other day, and was she selective? Oh.
Well, now, where are you going to have him?
Well, I don't rightly know. You see, Mr. Murdoch never told me anything about it. Well, where would it give the best results?
Well, to my mind, there's only one place for it. Now, just here on the wall, instead of that old map of the Lake District.
That's not the Lake District. That's Emily.
Oh, dear. I beg your pardon. You should hang it the right way up.
It is the right way up.
Oh! You hear that, Nobby? I put my foot in it.
Talk about tactful.
Well, I think the plug it in should go here. Then we can get the lead straight to the fuse box over there.
That's not a fuse box. That's a picture of Emily's sister.
Well, we'll wire it up to that then now. Nobby, you start pulling up them floorboards and I'll knock the hole in the wall. Or come over.
Well, I hope this is where he wants it to go. Talk about was there something.
These walls are a bit thin, aren't they?
Then, if it wasn't for the wallpaper, you could see into the bathroom next door.
Oh! Well, now, that's that. Now, where's the speaker?
In the House of Commons. Talk about repartee, eh?
All right, now, Nobby, take your positive through the A-band aperture over your condenser bearing and connect it to your pulse meet panel. Now, you'll be listening to your favourite program any minute now, sir.
I didn't know Dick Barton was on today.
And Nobby, don't forget your red wire should be fixed to the plus socket, otherwise everything will come out backwards.
Talk about socket and safe.
Oh, now get it all fixed, Nobby. Okay, now we'll just test him to see we got everything shipshape. I hope you've wired it up the right way round there. Here we go.
Round go merry to listening, Bean have you. Barker Eric with Run How They See in Appearing is Simpson Ronald.
Oh, I knew you'd wired it up the wrong way.
I've been
Change 'em
mucking
over.
about, Talk.
Now, sir, what station do you want?
Clapham Junction.
No, I mean what program?
Oh, I see. Well, let's try the light program.
Okay, here we go.
You have been listening to The Week in Westminster. Mr. Fawkes appears by permission of the Crystal Palace Company. This program is a repeat of the recording made on November the 5th.
Well, there you are, sir. Everything seems to be working okay. Now, if you'll sign here, Nobby and me can be pushing off. Now, that's the spirit, sir. And don't forget the slogan, always plug for plug it in. Now, come on, Nobby. Cheerio, sir. Oh, I'm so sorry, madam.
Talk about fancy goods.
Hello, Sam. Did I hear a new radio just now?
Oh, yes, Miss Williams. I've just invested in the new Plug It In. You know, you've seen the advertisements. Plug in to plug it in for all the best plugs.
Well, I'd like to try this. Come on, switch it on.
All right, Miss Williams, let's see what this knob does.
Now, I want you to all take your partners for the shortiche.
Oh, I don't like that old-fashioned stuff. Try something else.
Okay.
Blended together as a melodious whole. May I remind you of the various instruments of the orchestra that we have discussed today? First, there was the trumpets. Then the flute. And the cello. Well, there we are. I'm so sorry, and finally the trombone. I hope you've enjoyed giving this little talk as much as I have listening to it. Watcher.
You have been listening to Dr. Denville Tweed, Musback Otshot. He will be talking to you again on Tuesday next when his subject will be the double bass, will it ever become treble? And now we take you over to the Garbage Can Club to listen to the cabaret.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is the first and probably the only appearance in this country of the famous Latin-Avian singer Sancatapirus de Ramba de Pyrrhus. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sancatapirus de Ramba de Pyrrhus.
A bit of treacle tart will always play its part if you should ever have a visitor for tea. A macaroni cheese will put him at his ease. It's better than a bread and butter pudding would be. A bit of cottage pie would never hurt a fly, in spite of everything you read about in books. You'll never get in debt. You can afford to get a ticket for the cinema deluxe. I've an uncle who is living down at Bogside, and he wears a Norfolk jacket made of hog's hide. He wears a pair of +4s and gets a round of applause if he appears upon the promenade at Hove. Though they're really not exactly what you call nuts. I'm a glutton when it comes to pickled walnuts. I've a bungalow at Sutton, and I'm really quite a glutton when it comes to eating mutton in the fall. In a bungalow at Finner, I've an aunt who's getting thinner, 'cause she won't eat any dinner, that is all.
Who was that singing? I didn't quite catch the name.
Well, according to the announcer, it was Mr. Sancatapirus de Ramba de Pyrrhus.
Oh. Can you get anything else on this thing?
Well, the wonderful thing about Plug It In is that at any moment you can get any program, no matter what time it is.
You mean to say that you can even get an early morning exercises in the afternoon?
Oh, I should think so. Let's try.
Good morning, girls. Isn't it lovely to be up so early in the morning? Now, let's get started with our exercises. Now, first, open the window wide. It's lovely fresh air. Now, push back the furniture. Now, stand in the middle of the room. Now, with me. Bend your knees, stretch your knees, bend your knees, stretch your knees. Touch your toes up again, touch your toes up again. Right leg raise, left leg raise. Oh, sorry, girls. Now, get up off the floor quickly, dears. That's right. Now, with me.
trot round the room, raising your knees. Now, off we go. Now, just keep on trotting while I get out of bed and answer the phone.
You know, I feel quite tired after all that.
Well, if you don't like it, I think I could get you that new close harmony trio. You know, the 3 jive wires. I believe their harmony is the closest ever known. Here we go.
China boy, meet China girl, in Chinatown tonight. Well, China boy, meet China girl, in Chinatown tonight.
Though they're not in China, they have their romances.
Well, it please the media.
No one can resist their oriental glances.
Grand China boy, meet China girl, in Chinatown tonight.
Well, there's only one thing I'd like better than that.
I know what you mean. I'll switch on to it.
The thing would go something like this.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh.
We've studied with the greatest constellation, diddle-im-pom-pom.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh. The scheme to build the Bankside Power Station.
We've planned to build a wash-house here with thatched and timbered walls.
It would have filled a long-felt want for rubbing out the smalls.
But now we have abandoned it in case it dwarfs and falls.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh. At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh.
We couldn't stand the local beer much longer.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh. Until last week they told us it was stronger.
We tried to reach the binding arms before the evening rush.
But Costa had forestalled us and was wedged amongst the crush.
He'd swallowed pot in gallons and he'd quite a healthy flush.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh. At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh.
Her summer outfit Marilyn's preparing.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh. Her bathing costume is a trifle daring.
The sun was shining down on her, her eyes were tightly closed.
So Costa took his camera out and snapped her as she dozed.
She came out well developed, but a bit too much exposed.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh, last verse. At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh.
The housing program has been slightly altered.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh. We rather think that somebody has faltered.
The target was 100,000 houses for this town.
But though they haven't reached it yet, there's little need to frown.
Of 15 they've completed, only 8 have fallen down.
At Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh, change for Cleethorpes. Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh,
Husbands Bosworth.
At You've been listening to Much-Binding-In-The-Marsh with Richard Murdoch, Kenneth Horne, Sam Costa, Maurice Denham by permission of Senegal Limited, Marilyn Williams, Dirk Griffin and Stanley Black and the Augmented Dance Orchestra. Script by Richard Murdoch and Kenneth Horne. Produced by Leslie Bridgewater.